Today, at the end of the year, I just want to take a moment to say a massive and genuinely heartfelt thank you to our community. 2025, for me, has been a really, really significant year. Personally and business-wise, there's been so much going on. For good, for bad, a lot of change, a lot of things happening. As I was putting together this episode, and at the end of the year, I do like to usually put together one of these just to sort of talk about the year and do say a thank you. I was thinking about how I want to approach this particular episode. And I did started putting together this big list of things that had happened. Talked about our clients, success stories, trails and mountains completed, fears conquered, all of this cool stuff. I was going to talk about what's happened in the business, the things we've implemented, the changes that have happened, the different directions we're looking at going down, and all of this stuff. And I put together this big old list of things I wanted to talk about. But in all honesty, it did turn into a little bit of, I guess, a brag fest. It's cool, absolutely, to celebrate, and I love to talk about these stories and that, but it wasn't really what I wanted to go for. So basically, I just stripped back today's episode because today is just all about saying thank you. And I do not want that to get lost in, everything else. Because the start of 2025, for me, personally, was pretty rough. We'd had some challenges in 2024, which I think I talked about in podcasts before, which really, really sucked. And it had a lot of carryover for most of the year, in all honesty. And as much as it was worse at the start of the year, it's definitely carried on throughout. And in all honesty, these things and the way all this has happened, it's probably going to stick with me for a long, long, long time. It's never really going to go away, as these things tend to do. And in all honesty, at times, it has been tough. And personally, barely felt like, I was almost just keeping my head above water. And it's because of you, my listeners, my clients, my staff, everyone who makes this Summit Strength community what it is and allows me to do what I do and provide this and talk through this and having this as my career and this is my job and all of that. It is because of you that I have honestly been able to navigate all of this and as best as I can. So today is all about saying thank you. So I want to go through a few things. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to my staff, the people who have been working alongside me at Summit Strength, doing various roles. A big thank you to Lavinia, who does a lot of our conversations with hikers who are thinking about working with us. If you've ever hopped on a call with us in the last few years, you've probably met her, and she's probably taken you through the initial discovery call and had a bit of a chat. She's amazing. She's done such a good thing, and she's been such a good support and helped me when I needed help. So a big thank you to Lavinia. Also a big thank you to Andrea. Now, Andrea is no longer working with Summit Strength. She actually retired, lucky her. But she was working as a coach for a couple of years. And for the first half of the year, she was with us as well. And she was a massive help, a massive positive to the business and still, gets so many thank yous and so many people, asking about stuff she's said, which is awesome. I thank you to Josh, who's my gear specialist, who helps me get away from talking about gear, which I do not enjoy, and gets to give some really good advice there. Thank you for Michael for helping me with some things in the back end. To Kyle, who isn't part of my staff, I won't claim that, but he's our nutrition specialist who supports a lot of our clients on that side of things. A big thank you to Christina, who again isn't part of our staff, but she does our mindset and mental strength workshops and has helped many, many of our people and our clients with some awesome stuff. A big thank you to absolutely every one of you because you have helped me in so many ways, I cannot say. So thank you there. On top of that, a big, big, big thank you to all of my clients, past and present, people who I've actively worked with, who has come on board one of our training programs or whatever it may be, or even people who just bought one of our courses. It is such a pleasure to be in this position where I can help, I guess, in my small way for some people achieving some really, really incredible things. There's so many amazing stories I hear from people who are just accomplishing meaningful things for themselves, not just getting to the top of the mountain, not just overcoming an ache or pain, not just this, but just doing something really significant for themselves, whether it's something they've dreamt of, whether it's pushing through personal limitations, whether it's seen a change in their life or whatever it may be. And just know that allowing me to be part of that, for trusting me with your training, your preparations, it really does mean a lot to be part of your journeys. And thank you for the people we work with who 99.99% are absolutely amazing and lovely. And, that tiny, tiny little percentage, they typically don't work with us for very long. But a thank you for everyone who has been part of that. And also, a thank you to my listeners, people who listen to this podcast. Even if I never work with you directly, even if I've never even spoken to you, don't give me a cent or whatever it may be in regards to coaching fees. Just by listening to this podcast, by reading our newsletter, by watching our videos, by joining our community group and participating, by following us on social media, anything like that, it really does mean so much. It honestly still blows me away that people are willing to listen to me just yap on about training for hiking, something I'm so passionate about, and just listen to the things that I say. And that is absolutely amazing. So thank you for everyone there. And also, I guess the culmination of all this, beyond just, thank you to everyone for helping me navigate these, I guess, trickier times in my life, and helping me have a career that I actively love. And I'm not dragging myself into a gym every day going, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this, but actually allow me to do something I really, really do enjoy. There is another reason I want to say thank you to everyone. A few months ago, we celebrated the birth of my son. Now, I don't talk about him much on this podcast or really through any of my content online because I'm making an active decision that I don't want to, because I know I run the risk of, if I start talking about him in these episodes and saying, hey, my son did this and it was a good lesson about this and you should think about this for your training, which is so easy to do, it would very much easy to morphing the time with my son into sort of me thinking about work. Like, that's a battle I've struggled with my hiking, where my hiking, I actually get out and a lot of the time, and I've really been trying to turn this around, it kind of ends up me just thinking about work as opposed to just enjoying the trail, which sucks. And I do not want even the tiniest percentage of that with my time with my son. So I don't really talk about him much, and that is very, very much intentional. But I will sort of say, without going into too much, like, spending this time getting to know him, watching him grow for these last few months, he's amazing. And it is a wonder just to have him part of our lives. And I'm really stoked being a father, and it's, blown me away, in all honesty. And this makes me even more appreciative of this community that we have, and for allowing me to be in this position where I can have this career, which, I can work from home, so I can help out, my wife. I can spend time with my son. If my wife is sick, I can duck in and look after her, or whatever may be, or send her to a nap, or whatever may be, where I can have this flexible lifestyle where obviously I'm still working a full-time job. I'm not doing tiny little hours or whatever may be, but I can be in the position where I am flexible, where I can let my wife have time for herself. I can spend time with my son and all that. And it is such, a special thing. So thank you so much for allowing me to be in this position for it. So again, a big thank you to my staff, to my clients, to my listeners, to my followers, just for making this community what it is and just making this all possible. So with that being said, I'm not going to say too much more. I am just going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for everyone who has been a part of the Summit Strength community for 2025. And there's going to be some amazing things coming up for 2026 and beyond. And I cannot wait to get into it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.